My name is Raymond Cohen. I am going to be doing Tehilim. I'm going to focus on Mizmorim and Tehilim that have a lot to do with Tefillah, things that are mentioned throughout the Tefillah. I'm going to be primarily drawing from Rabbi Avishai David's wisdom in his Shiurim and Tehilim that he gives. He's currently the Rosh Shiva of Yeshivat Karat Shraga, which is where I spent a year and a half in Israel studying. I'm going to start off doing Mizmor Lamed, which is Mizmor Shel Hanukat Habayit David. We say that Mizmor on Hanukkah every day for the 8 days of Hanukkah. So we're going to start with that one. Mizmor Shel Hanukat Habayit David. So this Mizmor was said during a Hanukkah Habayit for David HaMelech, the Ibn Ezra, who was a scholar in the 11th century in Spain. He explains that the Hanukkah Habayit was the Hanukkah Habayit of David HaMelech when he built his new home, the Beit Arazim. So he created this Mizmor in thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he says as follows: Arumimcha Adonai kidillitani v'lo simachta oivai li. Hashem, you raised me up. I'm going to praise you because you raised me up, and you did not give my enemies that which to joy about. Adonai Elohai shiv'ati elecha v'tirpa'eni. I called out to you, and you cured me. Adonai, he calls out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu again. He says, E'alita min she'ol nafshi hiyatani miyardi bor. You took my soul and elevated it from Sheol, which is the depths. Hiyatani miyardi bor. You picked me up and you gave me life while I was descending to the pit. Zameru Adonai Hasidav Odu Zecher Kocho. David HaMelech calls out to all of those around him. He says, Zameru Adonai Hasidav. All the Hasidim of Hashem, all of those people who strive to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they should sing out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'odu lezecher kodsho, and they should be modeh to zecher kodsho. So, what's going on here? We first see that David HaMelech, he's talking about some kind of personal story, right? He says, you raised me up, you didn't give my enemies the ability to have joy over me. I called out to you, you cured me, you lifted me up from descending into the pit. And then he calls out to all those around him and he says, Hodu lezecher kodsho zameru Hashem. So we see that I think the Radak says that David HaMelech had a certain illness, and when he had that illness, so what was going on was that he felt that he was becoming weak and almost as if God was sort of punishing him, and his enemies had the opportunity now to take a jab at him, to say, aha, look what's happening to David HaMelech, and they were getting all excited. But then David realized at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was able to heal him, and so he's thanking him, and he goes and he turns to everybody and says, Zameru Adonai ki hasidav, ve'odu lezecher kodsho. He continues to say, Ki rega ba'apo hayim birsono, ba'erev yelin bechi v'laboker rina. God's anger is only for a rega, only for 1 minute, for a second, for a short period of time. But hayim birsono, his ratzon lasts forever, is in life. He gives me spirit. Ba'erev yalin bechi v'laboker rina. In the nighttime, or in the erev, is really the evening, yalin bechi, maybe I'll sleep in crying, but laboker, the contrast to that, is that in the morning, rina, I'll sing in joy. This concept of darkness, of not being able to see, of losing emunah during that period of time, is something that David HaMelech is pointing out here. Ba'erev yalin bechi, v'laboker rina. And in the morning, I'm going to sing joy. While it looks dark at a certain point in time, there's going to be light at the end of the day. V'laboker rina. There's going to be something positive. And we see this not only in this Perek, we see this in other Perakim also, in Tehilim. For example, in Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, we say the following line. We say, L'hagid b'boker hasdecha ve'emunatecha b'lelot. What does it mean, L'hagid b'boker hasdecha ve'emunatecha b'lelot? I will say, L'hagid b'boker, in the morning, hasdecha, your hesed, the charity, the giving that you're able to provide for me. Ve'emunatecha b'lelot. But at the night time, where things are not so clear, things are not so apparent, ve'emunatecha b'lelot, I'm going to talk about my emunah at night, because things are not so clear. And so it's that emunah that's going to carry me through the night, and that's exactly what's happening here. Ba'erev yalin bechi, while I'm crying at night, la boker rina, in the morning, I'm going to sing with joy. David HaMelech goes back again. He says, V'ani amarti b'shalvi, I said in my state of calmness, when everything was going well for me, I said, Bal emot le'olam. It's almost as if I'm never going to collapse. Right? We say, Ali ten lamot reglecha yom shomrecha. What does that mean? God is never going to let your legs collapse. Ali ten lamot reglecha. And we also say, V'lo natan lamot reglenu. We say during Arvit, we say, V'lo natan lamot reglenu, when we recall what happened with Mitzrayim, when Bnei Israel was going out of Mitzrayim, we say, V'lo natan lamot reglenu. God did not allow our legs to collapse. He didn't let our enemies catch us. So David HaMelech is saying here, I said in my state of calmness, Bal emot le'olam, I thought I was never going to collapse. I thought God was with me the whole time. But what happened? Adonai b'ritzonecha, amarta l'harei, oz histarta panecha, hayiti nivhal. In your will, amarta l'harei oz, you made my mountain strong. But what happened? Histarta panecha, hayiti nivhal. Histarta panecha is hester panim. Hashem removed his face, or he covered his face in a mashal, to say that God was no longer with David HaMelech. He caused him to become ill. Even if it was his ratzon to do so, it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ratzon to do so, he started panecha. And what was David's reaction? Hayiti nivhal. I was shocked. I didn't even know how to react. But then he's able to break out of it. You see, he's going back and forth with a struggle. There's something happening to him. He doesn't know how to react. He's going back and forth. He's not sure exactly what he's going to do. But then he continues to say, Elecha Adonai ekra, ve'el Adonai et hanan. To you, God, I will call. Ve'el Adonai et hanan. To you, I will express my tahanun. I will express my prayer. And this is a very important lesson that David HaMelech is teaching us. That when you have something that's happening to you, you have a stressful situation or whatever it is, it's the most important thing to do. You're going back and forth, you're getting beat, you're going down, you have to get back up. And you have to say, Alecha Hashem Ekra. It's not just about maintaining a blind optimism, some kind of positive attitude. It's also about going to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and saying, Ve'el Adonai el-Hanan, to you, I'll express my prayer, and realizing who's in charge and what's going on. And we'll see as the Psukim progress, David HaMelech, he's still thinking. He's thinking about giving up completely on his illness and just laying in bed and not saying. But then he continues to say, Ma beza bedami biriti el shahat. Ma beza, of what use is this? Of what purpose would it be bedami, with my blood? What purpose would my blood serve in this world? Biriti el shahat, if I descend into the depths, if I descend into the pit, if I just give up and I don't do anything about it, would that provide any value? What value would that provide? Can the dust praise you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Could it express your truth? And the obvious answer, this is really a rhetorical question, is obviously not. And David HaMelech, what he's expressing here is, despite the fact that he feels down, despite the fact that he's sick, and his enemies are attacking him, and he has a very hard life, there's everything going on around him, external to just this specific mizmor. David HaMelech had a very hard life with Avshalom, and his own son rebelled against him, two of his sons rebelled against him, and his father-in-law tried to kill him. he had a very hard life. His whole life he was going through all these kind of things, and now he's sick, and his enemies are getting a jab at him. But yet he maintains this positive attitude. But most importantly, he turns to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, "Hayodecha afar, can I be modeh to you? Can I give thanks to you?" Modeh is lashon hoda'ah. It means to give thanks, but also to recognize the good. Can I recognize the good if I'm just a piece of dust, if I let myself go? Shema Adonai v'hamneni. And now he turns back as if he wasn't yet answered. He says, "Listen, Hashem, v'hamneni, give me hen, give me grace. Adonai hayeh ozer li. God, be an ozer for me, be my support. Be there for me in my time of need." Then he says the most important line, almost as if through the Tehilim, he's able to express this idea. Hafachta mispedi lemachol li. Hafachta, you flipped over. Mispedi, misped, my hesped. Hesped is a eulogy. The idea being that he almost came to the point where he was going to have to be eulogized over, and he turned and David HaMelech turns to God and he says, "You changed that, you switched it to lemachol." Right, like we say, betofu mahol, with a dance. You changed my funeral and you turned it almost into my wedding day. You turned it into a day where I'm going to be able to dance. Petachta saki v'te'azireni simcha. You opened my sackcloth. Again, that's an idea of mourning. When you mourn, you tear your sackcloth. But you opened up my sackcloth v'te'azireni simcha, and you strengthened me with happiness. Why? As a result of which, Leman, when we say Leman, it doesn't mean because, it means as a result of which, Yezamircha chavod v'lo yidon. In order so that I will be able to sing, the Zamer, to sing kavod, your honor, v'lo yidom, and I will not stop. I will continuously do it. As the Ramban says, he says the whole purpose of being Bnei Israel, and even for the Goyim and everybody, is to ultimately come to the point where you can exclaim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Briotecha anachnu, that we are your creations. And when you can do that with fervor and legitimate excitement, then that shows that you've attained the ultimate human perfection. Leman yizamercha chavod v'lo yidom, I can give you the honor and not stop. Adonai Elohai le'olam odeka, Hashem, my God, le'olam odeka, forever I will give you this praise. I want to just go back a second to the line where David HaMelech says, Elecha Hashem ekra ve'el Hashem et hanan. With regards to tefillah, there is a mahloket between the Rambam and the Ramban, whether or not tefillah is something that is a hayuv midoraita, meaning the Torah commands it, or some say, the Rambam says that the rabbis really are the ones who came and commanded or instituted the tefillah to be on a daily basis. The Ramban is the one who says that that's not necessarily so true. That rather, the Rambam says that it was the Torah that commanded the tefillah on a daily basis. The Ramban says that the Rabbanan were the ones who instituted the tefillah on a daily basis. But really, from the Torah, pure Torah, there's no halacha of praying every single day, or 3 times a day rather. But the Ramban, he says something interesting. He says something very unique. He says that Be'et Sarah, in a time of discomfort, in a time of stress, in a stressful situation for an individual, for a community, for the nation as a whole, for humanity as a whole, that's when there is a hayuv midoraita, there is a hayuv from the Torah to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In my time of stress, Elecha Hashem ekra ve'el Hashem et hanan, David HaMelech is teaching us this very important lesson that you have to go and you have to seek out HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's all very nice, but we know that it doesn't always work out that way. And David HaMelech, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose to save him. But does that mean now that David HaMelech is worthy of praising? So the whole point of Leman Yizamercha Chavod V'lo Yidom on the next point is that ultimately you're supposed to take all of your resources and you're supposed to use those to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not just about now you gave me life so that I can go and do whatever and live freely and do whatever I want to do and just have a good time, and as a result of which I'm going to Leman Yizamircha Charvo V'lo Yidom. Once I take that, once you gave me that life, I'm going to thank you with it. I'm going to Zamirula Hashem Hasidav. I'm going to be Mizamer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what we say also every day in the Shema. We say V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. You should love your God V'chol levavecha V'chol nafshecha, with all your heart and all your soul, V'chol me'odecha, and all of your resources and everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you. It's not that God gives you certain presents and you can go enjoy and forget about Him. No, the psukim are in the Torah and Chazal are very explicit that it's quite the opposite. That you're supposed to take those resources and on the contrary, use those to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's only fitting that this mizmor is mizmor said in Hanukkah. Not just because it says Hanukkah Tabayit and Hanukkah and Hanukkah Tabayit, but also because of the theme here. It's a theme of light versus darkness, or rather I should say darkness versus light. Throughout there is this battle. We don't know exactly what's happening. David HaMelech is going back and forth. He's being challenged from every front. And yet he's able to emerge through calling out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, through making it a spiritual battle, and ultimately HaKadosh Baruch Hu is able to help him and perpetuate his life. And we see that stark contrast during the time of the second Beit HaMikdash, when the Greeks came in, and what's happening there is that the Greeks are coming and there's an idea of Hoshech. The Hakamim call that Galut, the Galut Yavan, the Galut of Hoshech. And there's darkness. And Bnei Israel didn't know exactly what to do. They were being assaulted spiritually on every level. And yet they were able to come. Matityahu was able to echo the words of Moshe Rabbeinu when he said, Mila Hashem Elai. They're able to battle, go back and forth. They're choosing whether or not to give up. V'rabim b'yad me'atim, or me'atim b'yad rabim. And they're able to ultimately emerge, but not emerge because they maintain just a positive attitude, but emerge because they maintain that positive attitude in combination with the emunah that they had in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And ultimately they were able to come and persevere, and that's what enabled them to perpetuate Jewish life all over until we're here today. And that's exactly the message that's coming through in this Perek, and that's why it's so appropriate that we say it on Hanukkah. I just want to conclude by saying that this is a very important message that we should all take to heart when we have our stressful situations in our own lives, and in the lives of our communities, and the lives of the nation as a whole, that we should always recognize, maintain that positive attitude, and have that emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should ultimately persevere as David HaMelech did.